With this past Sunday's premiere of The Walking Dead, there's only one question on people's minds. When will Coral eat another Costco-sized barrel of roof pudding? Okay, there's one other question, and that is when will we see Negan appear on The Walking Dead? Now, the fan-favorite villain has long been rumored to be making his way to the mega-popular AMC series. At New York Comic-Con, Robert Kirkman hinted that he'll be appearing in the near future. Then, showrunner Scott Gimple all but confirmed the report that a casting breakdown for a character named Orin is a code name for Negan, and the character could appear as early as the Season 6 finale. Why should you care? Who is Negan? Can he really be a bigger badass than the Governor? Well, ask and ye shall receive. Today on The Dan Cave, we're going to tell you everything you need to know about Negan. Now, before we get started, you should be warned that we're gonna get real spoilery up in here. I'm talking like month-old milk left in the hot sun spoiled, which, if you know anything about dairy, is very spoiled. You still there? Okay, good, let's do this. First introduced in issue number 100 of the Walking Dead comic, Negan is a former used car salesman who utilizes his natural ruthlessness and charisma to become the leader of a vicious gang of survivors known as the Saviors. Much like the Governor had his eye patch, Negan has his own signature look, a black leather jacket, his trusty baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire named Lucille, and a profoundly twisted sense of humor. Oh, and like every other word out of his mouth is dude makes Deadwood seem like Babytown frolics. Now, if you think that Negan looks a lot like Henry Rollins, you're right. Artist Charlie Adlard actually based his appearance off of Rollins, and Kirkman based his foul-mouthed tendencies off of his own real-life vocabulary, which, if you know anything about Robert Kirkman, is pretty freaking salty. Negan first meets the group after Rick finds Jesus. No, literally. He finds Jesus. Paul Jesus Monroe, an emissary from a nearby colony known as the Hilltop. You see, Negan and his men have been shaking down the Hilltop for months, collecting protection money in the form of half of their supplies, and in exchange, they clear out walkers from the nearby area. Naturally, Rick tries to slide into their DMs, offering to take care of their problem and set up a more mutually beneficial relationship between the two groups. Basically, it's like a slightly more apocalyptic version of Seven Samurai, or A Bug's Life if you're a baby. Now, once Negan learns of this, he decides to, in his own words, make a pretty strong first impression by ambushing Rick's group with 50 other men. Then Negan decides to play eeny meeny miny mo with Rick and the gang. Sounds fun, unfortunately it isn't, because Glenn is the tiger who gets caught by the toe, and then Negan bashes his skull in with Lucille, beating him to death. So yeah, strong first impression. I mean, a simple hello would have sufficed, like, hey, what's up, I'm Negan, stop stealing my business. You didn't have to go all like Ken Griffey Jr., home run derby on poor Glenn. What did that guy ever do to you? Literally nothing, but who knows? Maybe he did something in a past life. Maybe he didn't deliver your pizza on time. I don't know. We never saw your origin story. Where's the origin story, Kirkman? Where is it? Negan enforces this strict set of rules to maintain order within his walls because through that he believes they can save the world, aka that's why they call themselves the Saviors. However, Negan also has some weird traits, like he has a harem made up of other men's wives, and adultery is punished by pressing a hot iron against the offender's face. In this case, the offender is the man. The lady has a choice. She can either be exiled or re-enter the harem. The dude gets an iron to the face, leaving an eyeball exposed. Yeah, it's straight up horrifying. Now, that being said, Negan seems to have a visceral disgust for sexual violence, especially the act of rape. When one of his men tries to rape a prisoner, Negan summarily stabs him in the neck. So it's difficult to call Negan unabashedly evil. He just has his own twisted, rigid code of morals to which he adheres. And Negan seems to really get off on people standing up to him, especially Rick Grimes. Now, of course, Negan will respond with wanton acts of violence and some truly horrific language, but it's all part of his game of brinksmanship. It's no wonder he and Rick get along so well. They're like peanut butter and chocolate if chocolate was made exclusively of glass shards and murder. Now that's chunky. Now, just like there can only be one Highlander, there can only be one alpha male in the apocalypse, which leads to an all-out war between Rick and Negan. After the Saviors terrorize Alexandria for months on end, taking all of their supplies and crushing their spirit, Rick Grimes leads a coalition of multiple survivor colonies against Negan and his men. Things get dark. The conflict escalates to insane proportions, with Negan raining grenades down on Alexandria, smearing walker guts on serrated blades to create biological weapons, and murdering a truly shocking number of Alexandria's residents. Oh, and there's a live tiger involved too. A live tiger in the apocalypse! Now, of course, your boy Ricky G eventually gets the drop on Negan, but old Grimes, he takes the high road, sentencing the Savior-in-Chief to rot in a prison cell in an Alexandria basement. 2 years later, Negan is still there rotting away. Though with an even greater threat of the Whisperers lurking on the horizon, it seems like it's only going to be a matter of time until Rick will be forced into an unholy alliance with his old nemesis. In the meantime, though, we'll have plenty of time to speculate as to when we'll see Negan worm his way into our TV screens, and more importantly, who should play him. Now, my vote is obviously for Henry Rollins, but failing that, let's say Christopher Maloney. Remember Gene from Wet Hot American Summer? Well, Negan is exactly the kind of guy who would fondle his sweaters, if you catch my drift. Or fondue with cheddar. Either or, whichever he said. I didn't hear. So tell me guys, what's your favorite Neganism? Who should play him on the show? What do you think he'll wind up doing in the comics next? Share your thoughts with me in the comments below, and give me a thumbs up while you're there. That's all for today's show. If you like Star Wars and being smarter than all your friends, you can order my new book, 100 Things Star Wars Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die, from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or at Kamikaze on October 31st. Now be sure to tune in next week when I talk about the inspiring story of a legendary 15-foot tall mountain gorilla who has a mullet sewn to his scalp in the mighty Joe Dirt. Until next time, keep on digging.